Did you know that some of the most game-changing weapons in history were developed in total secrecy? These aren't concepts from a sci-fi movie. They were real, they were built, and they worked. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the most incredible secret weapons ever created. Let's start with a story from World War II. The Allies needed a way to bomb strategic targets deep in Germany, but their bombers were sitting ducks for enemy fighters. The solution, the P-51 Mustang. Initially, it was just an average fighter, but then a secret project fitted it with a new engine, the British Rolls-Royce Merlin. The transformation was miraculous. Suddenly the Mustang could fly faster, higher, and farther than any other fighter in the sky. It could escort bombers all the way to Berlin and back, decimating the Luftwaffe and changing the entire course of the air war over Europe. It was the war's best-kept secret until it was unleashed on an unsuspecting enemy. Speaking of air power, let's fast forward to the Cold War. The United States needed to know what the Soviet Union was up to. The spy planes were the answer, but they kept getting shot down. The challenge was to build a plane that could fly so high and so fast that nothing could touch it. The result was the SR-71 Blackbird. Developed in extreme secrecy at Lockheed Skunk Works, this futuristic-looking jet was a marvel of engineering. It was made of titanium to withstand the intense heat of flying at over Mach 3, that is, more than 3 times the speed of sound. The Blackbird could fly at the edge of space, over 85,000 feet up. It was so fast that the standard procedure for evading a missile was simply to accelerate. For over 30 years, it flew spy missions with impunity. Not a single SR-71 was ever lost to enemy fire. It was, and in many ways still is, the ultimate reconnaissance aircraft. But what about weapons that operate below the waves? During World War II, German U-boats were a terrifying threat. But the Germans had another, even more secret, weapon in development. The Type 21 U-boat. This submarine was a revolution. Unlike its predecessors, which were basically surface ships that could submerge for short periods, the Type 21 was designed to live underwater. It had a streamlined hull, huge batteries for extended underwater endurance, and could travel faster submerged than many Allied ships could on the surface. It was also incredibly quiet, making it nearly impossible to detect. Had these electro-boots entered service earlier and in greater numbers, they could have turned the tide of the Battle of the Atlantic. They were the blueprint for all modern submarines that followed. Let's go back even further, to World War I. In the muddy, brutal stalemate of trench warfare, a new horror emerged: poison gas. But the British had a secret weapon to counter this. They developed the first ever tank, codenamed the Mark I. To maintain secrecy during its development, the workers were told they were building water carriers for Mesopotamia. That's where the name tank comes from. When these steel beasts first rumbled across no man's land at the Battle of the Somme, they were terrifying. They could cross trenches, crush barbed wire, and were immune to machine gun fire. While their initial debut was clumsy, they fundamentally changed warfare forever, breaking the deadlock of the trenches and heralding a new age of armored combat. Now for something straight out of a spy thriller: the acoustic kitty. Yes, you heard that right. During the 1960s, the CIA spent millions of dollars on a project to turn a cat into a living, walking listening device. The plan was to surgically implant a microphone in the cat's ear canal, a small radio transmitter at the base of its skull, and a thin wire antenna into its fur. The idea was that the cat could casually wander into secret meetings in Soviet embassies and transmit conversations. After years of training and surgery, the first acoustic kitty was ready for its mission. It was released from a van near a park, with the target being 2 men sitting on a bench. The cat walked a few feet, got into the street, and was immediately hit by a taxi. The project was a disastrous failure and was quickly abandoned. Okay, so this one didn't exactly work as intended, but it was one of the most secret and bizarre projects ever attempted, showing the incredible lengths intelligence agencies would go to during the Cold War. Let's shift back to something that absolutely did work. During the Vietnam War, American pilots faced a deadly new threat: Soviet-made surface-to-air missiles, or SAMs. To combat this, the US developed a top-secret project to create specialized aircraft called Wild Weasels. Their mission was one of the most dangerous imaginable: fly into enemy territory and bait the SAM sites into turning on their radar. Once the radar was active, the Wild Weasel's sensors would lock onto the signal, and the crew would fire a special anti-radiation missile that followed the radar beam right back to its source, destroying the site. The motto of the Wild Weasel crews was "First in, last out." They were the brave pioneers of a whole new type of electronic warfare that saved countless pilots' lives. Another game-changer was stealth technology. The concept of making an aircraft invisible to radar was once pure science fiction. But in the 1970s, deep within the Nevada desert, the legendary Skunk Works was at it again. Using complex computer calculations and a radical faced design, they created the F-117 Nighthawk. It looked like nothing that had ever flown before. Its flat panels were designed to deflect radar waves away from the receiver, making it incredibly difficult to detect. When the F-117 was first used in combat during the 1989 invasion of Panama, It flew undetected through sophisticated air defenses. Its real coming-out party was the Gulf War in 1991. The Nighthawks flew night after night into the heart of Baghdad, one of the most heavily defended cities in the world, destroying key targets with pinpoint accuracy, all while remaining completely invisible to Iraqi radar. It was a technological triumph that ushered in the age of stealth. But not all secret weapons are about high-tech aircraft. Consider the humble Hedgehog. No, not the animal. This was the nickname for a British anti-submarine weapon from World War II. Before the Hedgehog, ships used depth charges, which were like underwater bombs that had to be set to a specific depth. It was often guesswork. The Hedgehog was different. It was a mortar that fired a pattern of 24 small bombs ahead of the ship. The clever part: these bombs only exploded on contact with the submarine. This meant no more wasted depth charges and no more giant explosions that blinded the ship's sonar. It dramatically increased the kill rate against U-boats, and was a simple but brilliantly effective secret that helped win the Battle of the Atlantic. And what about a weapon that fires lightning? Project Excalibur was a Cold War concept driven by the famous physicist Edward Teller. The idea was to detonate a nuclear bomb in space, and use the energy from the explosion to power dozens of individual X-ray lasers. Each laser beam would then be aimed at a different enemy missile, destroying them moments after launch. It was a core part of the Star Wars Strategic Defense Initiative. While a full-scale version was never built, secret underground nuclear tests in Nevada proved the basic physics worked. It was one of the most ambitious and terrifying weapons ever conceived, a doomsday device meant to prevent a doomsday scenario. The project remained highly classified for years, a testament to the extreme ideas being explored during the peak of the Cold War. From the skies to the depths of the ocean, these secret weapons show that the history of warfare is also a history of hidden innovation. Engineers and scientists, working in the shadows, have consistently pushed the boundaries of what's possible, creating machines and technologies that gave their nations a decisive edge. These stories remind us that behind every major conflict, there's often a secret battle of wits and technology that we rarely get to see. What do you think is the most impressive secret weapon ever built? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the world of classified tech, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest secrets. See you next time.